All right, so I was dealing with somebody who one of them pride rocks would have hit them in the forehead. Like, pride was something that they struggled very, very, very much so with. You know, a lot of these things that we like struggle with, a lot of spirits that we actually struggle with, a lot of those seeds get planted in childhood. So when it comes to somebody being prideful to where you can't tell them that they're wrong, I'm not no therapist. I'm not no psychologist, though I've taken psychology courses. You know, but I do like to read a lot. I do like to take in a lot of information. I try to use my discernment to keep what makes sense and what doesn't when I see conflicting information. But like I have a thirst for learning things. So I didn't study nothing, but I feel like I have some background knowledge to piece some pieces together that makes sense, right? When it comes to situations like that, it usually shows up, or I would say sometimes it just shows up from people who have always been told that they were doing something wrong, or they felt that feeling. Like as a child, a lot of stuff that's bad that shows up now that are bad qualities are rooted in that childhood trauma. And a lot of people go through trauma as children, but some of the things that people go through as children, I don't think most people be so quick to call it trauma. But let's just say, like, if we're not going to call it trauma, let's just say that it was one of those things that left a marker in how your character started developing. It was something, whether it was something that was persistently happening or whether it was something very impactful that happened, it left a marker in how your character developed over time. It will seem to me as though like a lot of people who have that prideful spirit in them, when it comes to them not being able to accept out loud that they're wrong in something they've done, or they're wrong in their thoughts about something, or like they have a need to be like celebrated and applauded when it's proven that they were right about something. Like, that's who I was dealing with. Okay, couldn't admit that they were wrong about something unless you like stared them down and was like, are you gonna say that you was wrong? Like, but who finna do all that? Who want to do all that? But on the other hand, when it was obvious that they were right about something, they would want to be celebrated. They would want to like repeat and make sure that you knew that they were right about something. See, I was right. I said that. Like, no, okay, say it one time, like confirm that you were right about something. Okay, validate it. But do you have to say it over and over again? And if you are saying it over and over again, why? Like, how does that help anybody? Oh, it's helping you feel better about you. And that's why you have to make sure you keep saying it again, because you need to be validated. And all of that, I feel like, comes from people that were around you, or maybe that you love. Whatever they did to have it show up, they were making you feel like you were wrong a lot. Like you didn't get validation about things. You can't never do nothing right. You ain't clean that up right. You like them them acting like you was stupid or didn't know enough. Like, oh, why you did that like that? I hear parents talking to their kids about like a lot, like just in observation, like calling their kids dummies and stuff like that. That stuff imprints you. While you're still learning and growing and figuring yourself out, and your brain is still developing, your character and personality is developing and changing all the time. Your wounds are being stuck in the back of your psyche. Like, all of that stuff can just leave imprints on you to affect how you think about yourself, and that affects your behavior, and also affect how you interact with other people. So like, yeah, I feel like a lot of people who sit in that type of prideful energy have had a lot of experience, coming up with people making them feel like maybe they weren't smart enough to make good decisions, or that they don't do things right, or that, yeah, that they're not, their voice is not heard. So they want to make sure their voice is heard now. They want to make sure if they get a little information that that they know their information, that you feel like they know what they're talking about. They want to seem smart. They want to seem like they can handle things, that they have the right answers. And if situations come up that it's like, well, no, you didn't have the right answer, like, it's hard for them to accept that. It's hard for them to face that in front of others, because they know how they felt when they haven't been right about things. It's hard for them to admit that in front of others. So my story of how this almost or could have killed us, the Lord's hand be over me, baby. I'm just saying that it really does, because I'm not able to explain right now, and I won't be able to explain this other than God had us. Because, yeah, so my battery died one day. My car battery died. My car was in the garage, and I happened to go off with somebody. And so the thing about it is, I needed a new battery. It wasn't just like, oh, something ran my battery and it just needed to, like, my car needed to sit off and just get a jump, and then I was good to go again. I needed a new battery. So like while I had got jumped, my car needed to stay on so that I can then go drive and get this battery replaced. But I was going at the time. So I asked the person, whenever they got in the area to be able to jump my car, to do it for me while I was going. And, by the time I come back, I'll be able to do what I needed to do. So the person did it. But the problem is, because my car had to stay on. So here's the thing. I feel like a little communication would have went a long way. If the person didn't know how long it was going to take for me to return, they could have asked. I didn't know when that person was going to arrive. So like, I left everything the way it needed to be, so that when they did arrive, they were able to access the vehicle, get in, do whatever they needed to do to jump the car. That person didn't know, like, okay, this car got to stay running. But I guess the question now is, well, how long is it going to have to stay running? Well, the question should have been that, but the question was never asked. So eventually I returned. To a closed garage door. My first thought was, oh, maybe this hasn't happened yet. I go inside and my car has been running inside the garage. Just running in a closed garage. Okay, I feel like y'all already know what that means, but if you are not sure how that's dangerous, that's how people off themselves. They close the garage up, sit in there with a car that is on, and just wait to drift away. And I'm gonna tell you, it don't take that long. I'm gonna tell you exactly how long it can take. Okay, quick Google sources say that carbon monoxide levels can be lethal in as little as 5 to 10 minutes. You breathe in it. You walk into wherever it is, you immediately start breathing it because you breathe. And even though it can take 5 to 10 minutes for it to become lethal dosages of carbon monoxide, that is from start to finish. So if the car had already been running for 10 minutes, the room is already filled with a lethal dosage. You don't have to be in there for another 10 minutes for it to knock you out. And when you get knocked out from carbon monoxide, okay, the key word there was lethal, right? So when I realized that the car was on in the garage, I immediately started praying. I immediately opened up the big garage door so it can start airing out. Like, I had also done a Google search to find out, like, well, how long does it take for the air to dissipate? It's gas. So, like, it could have been leaking into the house. Like, it's gas. And just because you open the door, it's not like it's smoke. But even with smoke, like, smoke can rush out as soon as you open the door, but like, it's still there for a length of time, just residual smoke still in the air. Like, so I'm not knowing how long it's going to take for this carbon monoxide to actually clear out of this garage, even though, like, I immediately drove the car out of the garage and left the garage door open. So once I got my mind back, because I did all of this very quickly, like, as soon as I saw, like, oh my gosh, this car is on, this garage is closed, like, bam, bam, like, I went into quick action and got the car out of the garage, got myself out of the garage, left the door open. Now I'm like, okay, like, was this an ambush? Like, what? I'm trying to figure out what frame of mind this big grown-up person is in, because I'll say I imagine most big grown-up people know that having a car on in a closed garage is a no-no. So I go and talk to the person. I'm like, hey, you left the car on and the garage was closed. He's like, yeah. And I don't remember verbatim what I said, but I do know I wasn't angry. I do know that I was cognizant on how I approached it. So I wouldn't say I was using an accusatory tone. I just wanted clarity, and I wanted that person to understand that that was dangerous. So I said something along the lines of, well, you know that was dangerous. I'm like, we could have been carbon monoxide poisoned. And the response was, don't you think I know what I'm doing? So you were trying to, like, apparently you knew what you was doing. That's your response. My mind was just blown. I didn't have any energy in me to say anything back. I just left in utter astonishment of how somebody couldn't humble themselves enough to be like, oh my gosh, I wasn't thinking, I can't believe I did that. They weren't humble enough to acknowledge it, to acknowledge that they put us in danger. And it's that type of delusion that makes me very nervous about people and their state of mind. There's no more to this story. There is no more to this story. That's it. But I just wanted to illustrate with my story about how harmful it can be to humble yourself. And even on the front end, I don't don't know. Like when I question things like that, there's two questions here. Is it a lack of awareness that's the issue? Or is it a lack of accountability that's the issue? Either you didn't know how harmful this was, or it was brought to your attention and you couldn't admit it. But that's all, folks. I hope they never do that again. Since they knew what they were doing, I hope I could bring some clarity to the situation. That was dangerous. You could both of us. And, you could have made other people pass out trying to find out what was going on. My mama, my daughter, like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't know. But that's also how you have to like accept that you don't know everything. Because that person was really just honestly just ignorant to the fact that, hey, there's a certain way I gotta do this that's safe. Then it would have been best for that person to just find out, like, how can I safely leave a car on? I don't know. Maybe I feel like now I'm just overthinking it. But yeah. That's my story. Y'all be safe out there.